Actually, I think I'm going to leave it like so. I don't want to bring it around like so. Actually, I need to... welcome. There we go. Welcome to the Hobby Backlog. Yep. I am Dave. As anybody who's watched this series or any of my other videos on What Game Now that I've been a part of, I'm trying to get my phone in the right place. I went through extra effort this time trying to make sure that I was ready for this, okay? And guess what? Still wasn't ready. But this is only episode 4 of this, so eventually I will be able to get this all prepared beforehand. Or maybe not. We shall see. Okay. So we are going to... Alright, so today we are doing more Blood Bowl Dwarfs. Well, I don't say more Blood Bowl Dwarfs. We're kind of finishing up the Blood Bowl Dwarfs. So, or maybe not. I am going to turn that down just to hear myself talk. So, once again, there's a bit of a delay between when you chat and I see it. So, please remember that. While we get our first shake done here. Actually, I'm going to shake this one first. So, we finished off with a couple of things here. Finished off last time with some stuff. I was painting these two Blood Bowl Dwarf Blitzers from the Games Workshop game, Blood Bowl. And one of the reasons I'm doing that is because we have a section on our YouTube channel that is What Game Now is on right now, which is a Tabletop Sports Network, and we do a game right now. Currently, we've done a couple for Guild Ball, with another couple of those coming. We had some home games recorded by Ethan and his wife, and we're going to give them the Tabletop Sports Network treatment hopefully soon. But right now, we're painting them. I'm painting the Blood Bowl Dwarfs because we want to introduce Blood Bowl to Tabletop Sports Network, so people get a look at Blood Bowl in a different way. So, or for the first time maybe, or in a different way that they haven't seen it before. We're a little zoomed out here, but we will be zooming in on it when we start to paint. So right now I'm shaking up some Lava Orange from Games Workshop. See that? Right? Yeah, it's probably out of focus because of how far away we are. And I had the autofocus off because it messes with it when you get close in. So, but anyway, so yeah, Lava Orange Army Painter paint. And the reason I'm doing that is because I need to put a second coat onto this Blitzer's beard. Alright, we're going to get him there. And like I said, we'll get in close when we start painting. And the goal is to basically what we have here, if you can see that. If not, we'll look at it when we get closer. Is to give a good definition to the braids or strands in the dwarf's beard. You can see on this one we also did it. And so on the one that we were working on before, it still needs a couple of, probably need at least one more, if not a couple more coats of the wash on it to really set those out. And there's actually a couple of places that I missed with the wash, so we'll have to go back over those. But before we get started on that, before we get up close, and then once hopefully we finish up. Well, we will get finished up with these. Hey Chris, how you doing? We get finished up with these blitzers. We have a couple more layers on their hair, and beards, and then we have to do something with this little barrel on the side and their weapons. So once we get done with that, we're going to get done with that, and then be able to start on our runners next. They are basically just black right now, and they have a little bit of skin tone. And then we're going to go over the skin tone parts again, make sure we're putting them in the right place, because with these guys, we realized we were skin toning something that was basically like cloth. So we'll get to that here in a minute. All right, so I wanted to do something a little different this time around. I wanted to go ahead and introduce another project that's both going to be on the Hobby Backlog at one point, I'm sure, when it comes to painting them, and will be on the What Game Now channel soon. All right, so another game that we're going to be introducing is called Gaslands. I won't get into a whole lot of that. These cars aren't specifically for Gaslands, but Gaslands uses the Hot Wheels size cars, which you modified to be very post-apocalyptic and so on and so forth. So you drill out the rivets, you take the bodies off, you can strip them down. Not everybody does that. You dirty them up, or however you like to do it. You make a custom model for use with this game, and the game is all about winning a race, but you also get to shoot at each other and do all kinds of interesting things. So, speaking of doing interesting things, if anybody who might be interested in this, go ahead and share it with them. This will also be available for watch later on our YouTube channel as a video. Okay, so what I wanted to do before we got into and in depth into the painting today, something a little different. One of the things that I decided I was going to do, I found these Hot Wheels mystery models, and one of the things I said I was going to do with them, and I've been talking about it before, is to open them up, see what's inside, and then basically do a complete Frankenstein for a car. I don't know what the right number is for that, like how many do we open, but I've got 3 here. I've got plenty more here in the studio, because I pick up a couple of them. They're like $1, so I pick up a couple of them every time, and not every time, but when I go to the store, I'm getting groceries or whatever, I'll pick up 1 or 2, and then I just collect them, and I figure I'd find a use for them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to open these 3 up, and then I want anybody who's watching the video can send us suggestions through Facebook Messenger on the Facebook page, or by commenting on this video once it's up, to let us know what they think we might, how we might fashion that Frankenstein car out of what we get out of these packages. We may open a couple more of these too, just to fill out, if we get a couple duplicates or whatever, because these are blind. They show what you can get. There's like a Mustang Funny car that's grayed out, so we don't know what it looks like, but they got a number of pretty cool cars. This is the 2019, it looks like, Series 1 Hot Wheels. So, well, let's take a look here. And my dogs, I am a normal man with a normal life. So my dogs, you might hear in the background when they get worked up. And if they get too bad, I'll go calm them down. But right now, we're just going to let them go. And I have realized that I've never opened one of these before, and I'm doing it for the first time live on camera, and they seem a little bit harder to open than I think they should be. But we got it. Alright, so the first thing, it comes with a sticker. And the sticker is kind of like the spoiler, so I think I don't want to look at that yet. And we'll move these other 2 over for a minute. Alright, so we got us a fancy sports car, a race car. There's also another hobby I recently got into, which is die-cast racing. So some of these cars that I got might go to that. So this This is called the 24 hours. OURS. And I guess it's like a 24 hours of Le Mans type of thing. So we'll take a look at it. It's a race car. You can look up more pictures of it too if you want to get any ideas on how to use it. But we're going to look at that one first. So the 24 hours, OURS, is our first car. We're just going to set that on the Hot Wheels sticker. All right. And then I'm going to open the next one. Feel free to chat. This is probably loud, but feel free to chat. We definitely, one of the reasons why I'm here, you are helping me to actually do some hobby work. So we're going to put that upside down. We don't want to see what it is, and that'll tell us what it is. All right, look at that. We got ourselves a Mustang. It's a drift rod is what it's called. It does look like. That is interesting. So it's called drift rod, according to this. It says it's a 2016 Mattel, but they put them in as a recolor or whatever of ones. They've been doing these blind boxes for a while, but you should be able to see those. All right, then we're going to put that over here. And remember, the purpose of opening these is we're going to fashion a car. And I mean, if we got to go get the Dremel out and eat it up into pieces and glue them back together, guess what? That's what we're going to do. And these seem to be plastic bodies so far, so I don't know how well the Dremel's going to work with it, but we will find a way to cut them up and put them back together again. Man, these things are harder to take apart than I thought, once again. There we go. Alright, so let's see what we got here. I'm going to pull out our sticker and put it face down there so we don't want to spoil it. And here we go. Whoa, look at that. Man, I might have found some cool cars for die-cast racing here. That is a neat flat paint job. And that feels like a metal body as opposed to the other ones. That's pretty cool. What do we call that? Track Ripper. Huh. That is pretty sweet. I don't know if you can see all the detail that's on there, but that's pretty cool. I feel kind of bad stripping that one down. That might have to go to the Die-Cast Racing League. So, alright. So we got that. Let's see if we can't get a couple more to get our ideas flowing here. Once again, we're opening these up so that we can, well, like I said, that one might have to get repurposed. So it looks pretty cool for a racer. Alright. I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, I've been collecting these things up over time for like the last few months. I'm going to grab 3 more. And my chair is going to get a little loud here. But I'm going to grab 3 more. And we're going to open those. And we'll pick a few. It gives us some options. We're not trying to do this as a limited challenge or whatever. We're trying to get some good ideas. So these 3 that I just pulled out are also, well, this one's also Series 1, so it's the same. So we've opened 4 Series 1 so far with no duplicates. That's kind of cool. We're going to knock on wood because we know what happens when we start talking about things. These are all very cool, like drift cars or race cars. I thought we'd get some kind of monstrosities here that we could deal with, but they're all sports cars. But, you know, that's pretty cool. Drift Star Race Crew. So I guess this series is a lot of race cars, but we can do something with that. Gaslands has a, you know, sports car or high performance car profile. So this is kind of neat. It's got pink and green. All right. And this one is called Driftstar. It's a pretty cool Hot Wheels stickers too. I don't know if that's ever been cool, but in my situation, in my opinion, it's cool. I'm going to move these back just slightly. I'm going to open up these last two and see what we get. This one's also a Series 1. You can see it on here. It says 2019 on the back, which is harder to see, but you can see it right here. It says Series 1. Alright, I'm going to open that up. Anybody getting any ideas yet of what we might put together with these cars? I might have to just do like a racing team. And I know I'm asking people who might not know how gas stands works to do that, but you know, we can do a little review of it as well. So we got one little like concept kind of car right here. Some good metal bodies on some of these too. Futurismo, is that what they calling it here? Yep, Futurismo. On the third one, oh, the one I really like, the paint job on, that I really don't want to destroy, but I'm going to because it's just how show business works. But yeah, this is Futurismo. That's pretty cool. And then we got one more. Kind of rusted. Yeah, some spikes for ramming. Yeah, it is just a cool car. That third one's just a cool car all around. I hope I get a duplicate of it so that I can... Oh, this is Series 3. So this is a whole other series. This one is. So. Huh. Now, I like that this one has a nice metal chassis, which we could probably build something on. It's kind of futuristic, kind of open wheels, kind of Indy car. And it's called, well, it's just Formula Street, I guess. Formula Street, that's number 12 out of this series. And the mystery car, I mean, it tells what it is, but it doesn't show what it looks like, is the number 1 for all of these. But so, I mean, we opened up 6 cars and didn't get a duplicate, and that's kind of, that's really good for blind boxes. But anyway, I'll post a picture of these on the Facebook page or Instagram. Probably on the Facebook page. Just, and then with some angles and whatnot so that we can see what they look like. But it looks like we got a bunch of race cars here. And we might not have to chop these up too much to make them work. We might just make a racing team. So anybody has any ideas, let me know. I'm going to move these to the side. Okay, and let y'all see these stickers. If anybody, I mean, anybody wants a sticker, if you're in the U.S. and I don't have to send it like a million miles away and spend a bunch of money, I can just throw it in an envelope with a stamp and send it to you in the U.S. Just let me know. I'll throw it in an envelope. I'm not 50 cents ain't gonna kill me. Or whatever it is total with the envelope, and I think I get envelopes here. We can send those out to people. And they don't have the car name on it, they're just different colors. So, and that one is the car. But this one is all Hot Wheels logos from the first series. Okay, so if anybody wants one of those, if you're local, let me know and I can find a way to get it to you. Or I can even send it to you if you're local. So I'm going to go through them one more time just to give you a look. That is more green and pink. I don't know why the camera makes it look weird. And this is those. And this is a pretty cool one too. I like this one. All right. Actually, we're going to do this. I'm going to show them to you again. This is going to be the way we're going to decide. Okay. Yeah. Most definitely. All right, Chris. Most definitely. All right. So we're going to line them up like this. I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to show them to you. And in the comment, once again, we're going to modify these for Gaslands. It looks like we're going to have a few race cars. It's going to be our team. It's going to be something racing specific. And I will go ahead and talk about it a little bit more. But let's just, without knowing exactly how the game works, I want y'all to pick some cool cars. I don't want y'all to try to min-max it according to the game or anything like that. Okay? And I just want you to take a look at them. Okay? I really want a duplicate of that one, or see if I can find some more models of it, but that paint job is awesome. And this one here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and feel free to put in the comments. Let's just say we'll start off with picking. Let's pick 3 cars to use for our, and then at the beginning of each of our hobby backlogs, we can take it a step further. Or I may make a separate live video for it later. But right now, we need to pick 3 of these cars that we're going to use to make Gasland's team out of. If we have to have a 4th one, I'll let you choose that one too. Just make a comment on this video or send us a message on Facebook, Facebook Messenger, and we'll let you know. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're just now joining us, feel free to chat and let us know. And feel free to comment too. You can watch it back. But we're picking 3 cars out of the 6 to be on our fast car Gaslands team. So Gaslands is post-apocalyptic death race kind of Mad Max tabletop game. All right, and I just recently got into diecast racing, so we might have to do some blind box and pick that next time. But right now, these are for Gaslands. So pick 3 cars. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just give me the 3 numbers that you want, and we'll vote on them. 3, 5, and 6. Yeah, I like that too. I like that too. But let's see what everybody else says. I may even put up a poll later, but 3, 5, and 6 is good. So that's this one. Yeah, those are the 3 that caught my eye. This one's kind of, the number 2 is kind of interesting, but yeah, those 3 look like they belong together. All right, I'm gonna pull these off, and we'll get back to the painting stuffs. But anyway, Chris, glad you could stop by, and hopefully I won't bore you to death with my painting and rambling on. Anybody who's joining us, please. You can go to our Facebook page. The thing is on there, on the screen at the bottom left. What Game Now on Facebook. So facebook.com What Game Now, and there, and go to and go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, comment, and share. Let's kind of get this stuff to get the channel out there. So if you'll bear with me just one moment, like I said, we were doing something interesting. I needed more space because of that. I didn't want to be zoomed in, so give me 1 second. We're going to zoom into our dude here. And configure. All right. Controls. Okay, so we're going to zoom in. a little bit crazier because I lowered the... There we go. Put it here, we can see it, and then I'm going to give it a little focus. Oh. Alright, I think we can see that. So we'll go ahead and apply those settings there. Actually, I want to move this camera a little bit out here so that we can get more of it as we go. Alright. So we'll go ahead and take care of that. Now back to what we're doing here. Alright, so we've gotten in closer so we can see the mini as we paint. Alright, so we're still working on these, the blitzers. And as you can see, we've got some pretty good paint on this one already. We got the beard colored well, and then we're just applying washes. So I'll apply another wash to that in a minute. So leave that there. But I want to put this one on here because this one on here because we need to paint its beard a little bit better, so we can start applying washes to it, and hopefully we get to move on. I don't see why we wouldn't. Hopefully we get to move on to the runners tonight. So if anybody's having trouble seeing, hearing, or anything like that, please let me know and I will make the adjustments. Alright. We are using Lava Orange Painted War Paints. And once again, we're going to give his beard another coat of orange because right now it's barely covering. And that requires a shake up. I would pre-shake these things, but they would just settle before I got to them. So I'm just going to give them a good shake, good beating. And get these going. Sorry if the camera shakes. My setup is still kind of primitive. But it gets the job done for now. Hopefully we can get some more equipment in here soon. I really want to get a couple of GoPro cameras. At least one for this setup. So it's, you know, I can get a good mount and everything for it, but we'll see. So we can lock it down real good. I was kind of upset today because I realized the Walmart that I go to the most right here in town had marked down some of their GoPros. It's the only one in town that's done the markdown. I called all the rest of them, but anyway, for one of them I was looking at, and they cut it like half price, I guess, to sell the last one they had, and I missed out on it. Well, this would look a whole lot different right now. All right. We can't get some orange paint using my handy dandy wet palette. Brr. Keeps the paint moist. We're going to wet down arm cam. We're going to wet down our brush here. Do a little point on it. For reasons. I won't live suggest that you do it, but one of the few ways to actually get a good point on your brush is to put it in your mouth. To put it in your mouth. Your mouth, your mouth, your mouth. And bring it to a point that way. So, we shall see what we'll see, won't we? So once again, I am going here to... I'm going to put some paint on his beard. The other layers had time to dry really well. We're not too concerned about the things in his beard getting orange on them because they will be painted a different color. I do think I need to dab a little bit more on there. We don't want too much. We want nice thin layers because we don't want, especially in pieces like this one has strips, like strands of hair on it. And we don't want to mute out those strands by filling it up with paint. We're getting awful close to his mask as well, so we want to start back here and work our way up to the point where it meets the other color. We just want to make sure that we are not completely filling in the gaps between the strands of his beard. So we want to keep that definition. So once again, light layers. Also to know that these types of paints anyway, when you first put them on, especially if they've been thinned a little bit by a little bit of water, or I mean, that is terrible. Put a little bit of something on that. There we go. Especially if they're thin by a little bit of water, will go on and look a little thicker than they are. So, but once you see, like that's a little thin, and I might have had too much loaded on it, so it's filling in those strands, and I don't like that at all. What did I do with my paper towels? There they are. I went through and had to do some rearranging in the studio here, and it's didn't get finished. It's still a mess. So those who know me know that that's not uncommon, that things don't get finished right away. But I did a lot, so that's my excuse today. I did a lot. All right. Looked like I had, it seemed like I had just a little bit too much water in my brush when I picked up that color. And the last thing you want to do, you want to get these things, get enough paint on your brush, but you don't want to keep having to go over it a bunch. So you want to put it on, and that means you got to put on a thin layer and wait for it to dry and then move. If you want to do that, you definitely don't want to keep working the paint too much on the model, because then you start picking up any residual stuff. It can cause like clumping of paint and whatnot. So if you're going to go back over it, give it just a moment to dry and then go back over it, because you're just moving paint around at that point if you're not letting it get stuck on there. So like I said, we're just going over his beard with another coat of paint. And getting behind the, like I said, if the beard was a separate piece, I didn't assemble these. I got them from somebody at Camden. friend Camden, and he had already assembled them, put some basing material on them and such. So I didn't get to assemble them, but remember, if you do have the option to assemble them, if the assembly of them, like especially on things that have beards and stuff, pay attention to what they're going to be in front of, and you might want to paint that stuff before you put it together. Avoiding, contact points and stuff, because you don't want to try to, it'll still work, but you don't want to have to, if you're using plastic glue, because these are plastic models, then you definitely don't want to have to worry about a painted surface not sticking to another painted surface. So just take your time. And if you don't have time to complete what you're doing, just do what I do. Put it up and move on to it later. So anyway, anybody out there got anything they want to talk about besides Chris? Chris has done all the talking today, it seems like. We still got some drying on here. So even these top ones I started with aren't quite dry yet, but I think this one's dry enough to put a little bit more paint on. Alright, we're going to leave that alone for, I'm just going to put some more on this one. Around the back here, on the bottom, because we want to coat it all the way around. So we're not going for museum quality here, or show quality, or like contest quality. I want them to look good on the pitch when they're smacking people around. And like I said before, as long as you like the way they look, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And I like the way they're turning out. Now, in case you missed it last time while we're kind of going over this, the decision was made from some of the folks that was in here last time, which anybody who knows me or knows these guys probably, if you were at my shop previously, Tristan, Peyton, and Caleb were in my chat last Thursday, and helped me to decide that all of these dwarfs are going to have the red hair. So they're all going to be gingers. So we're still trying to figure out what to name them, but we know that it needs to be something that has to do with being soulless. Yeah, complain, but it's true. Doesn't make me love the gingers any less. Just the way that it works. Alright. We're going to put a little paint on it there. I just realized that didn't get as much paint as the other, and we're going to have to touch up a little on the blue on that side. But that's okay. We'll deal with it. Oh yeah, I didn't see. I feel like I did see it last time, but not this time. So we're going to turn this over. And right behind his mask and above his hand and his bracer here, he's got some beard. Yeah, we're definitely going to touch up the blue now. I just hit the hell out of that sugar cone. Maybe not. Maybe I can catch it before it gets too... There we go. I think I got it off there. It looks like I might have got it off. Sometimes you can catch this paint since it's water-based before it dries and just lightly, take it off there. It looks like I might have done that there. There's no hope on the bracer part. We're going to have to touch that up with some blue. But that's okay, so we're going to need to pull out the blue for these gems down here anyway. So, but it looks pretty good. We're going to go with the same scheme that we went with these guys when it comes to any skulls that might be in their beards, which this guy doesn't have. This guy has skulls. So it's a white. I use matte white, and I go over it with some dark shade, and it kind of makes it look like a stone, kind of like a stone type deal. Same thing we're going to do on the weapons. So, but if we have a gem in here, I like this one at the bottom, we're going to add some blue in there for the gem. So we got to pull the blue out to finish the gems anyway. So we'll be fine. Alright, we gave that a little bit more. I think we're going to have to wait for that to dry a lot more and then put another layer on it. But while we wait on that, I have some Strong Tone by Army Painter. And we're going to put another layer of this Strong Tone on the other Blitzer's beard to further define it. Also, it looks like I missed a couple spots on it last time, so we'll go ahead and layer those for the first time. But the parts that I missed aren't really detailed parts, so it should cover pretty good. And I'm just shaking them up. Let me go ahead and put him in here. There we go. Like I said, we're just going to go over his beard again with some wash, some strong wash. Which is, I don't know. It's not really a sepia kind of wash, but it's definitely not like dark black. But when you layer it up, it looks pretty good. Alright. Yeah, shake, 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 earthquake. I need to put this in my water so it doesn't get that stuck on it. All right. Let's see if we've got enough shake 'em up in here. All right, and we'll go ahead and droppy. A little bit of that in there. And I'm waiting on, I got another brush, let's put it that way. Because the other one, let it soak a second, that was the orange. Oh, the brush with the lava orange on it. Alright. So I'm going to get some of this strong tone. And the first thing I'm going to hit is up here. Because I did not get all of his beard last time. Alright, and what we're doing with this strong tone, we don't want to over flood it with it, but we want to make sure we got enough on there for it to kind of pull in those recesses and the cracks and the crevices. So what we're trying to do with this is just outline those parts to make them stand out. I mean, to give it definition, really. And I have a spot on here of this that needs to be moved off of his face. There we go. Yeah, it's got some of that black tone, or that strong tone on his face and my bob. Okay. Now we can go back and just make sure we're getting it in all the spaces. Hey Brennan, what's going on, buddy? Once again, there is a delay. So when you put your thing in there, your question or comment, it may take me a moment to actually get to you. So anyway, so we're just, like I said, we're just putting another layer of strong tone on here. And it's really going to darken it up, and it's going to look like, oh, that's going to be way too dark. But in the end, it's going to dry a little clearer than it is now. And then we'll see if we need to put another coat on it, but it's just going to give that definition that we want. We don't just want to have a beard. We want to have an awesome beard. And this stuff is, it's kind of, I don't know, some people might call it the cheating way, but you don't have to go over and put another layer of this or actually paint highlights in it or darken it up with some sort of paint. But washes have been around for a while, and I think they're just tools that you can use. How is the kitty today, Brennan? And once again, feel free to chat like Brennan has, like Chris has, and we'll talk about whatever. You want to talk about Blood Bowl, you want to talk about painting, you have questions about, anything gaming related. What did I have for breakfast, which is breakfast pizza. It's like pizza with eggs and bacon and so either gravy or cheese for the sauce. That's pretty good. I like the food. And if you saw me right now, and those who have seen me know that is the truth. Food is my friend. Alright, we can work that till it all comes off what we want, but really just want to get it where it needs to be and leave it be to dry. So you can see it's glossy right now, but here in a minute it'll dry up. And then it's given the beard color on this one time to dry this. These acrylic paints we use in the hobby are pretty fast drying, so. And arm cam is a thing because I do need to clean things up, and until I get everything straight, you know what? We're gonna swap. Oh, this dude, who's another work in progress, and we're gonna move our paint cup on this side. So it only makes sense because that's the hand that I paint with, and I won't have to reach across as much. All right. Anyway, so. I don't have to reach across the screen as much. This looks pretty good, but I want one more coat on it because there's still some parts that aren't ready yet. Aren't ready yet. Okay. All right. We still have orange on our palette. And then because it's a wet palette, it stays on there nice and moist. We don't have to pour more or try to moisten it or re-wet it, reinvigorate it, whatever you want to call it. So we just hit those spots again with our orange paint. There we go. And we're just trying to get a nice even coat over the one that's already there. Remember what I said, don't work it too much. I'm probably working a little bit too much because you don't want to, you can get clumps of just random stuff that happens to be on the model that you're just pushing around and getting places it doesn't need to be. when it dries out, you kind of just roll pigment and whatever all up into. Long story short, don't overdo it. You want to get a good thin coat on it and then leave it be, or go back for more paint. But you never want to push it to the end of what paint's loaded up on your brush, because that can cause problems. So if you're only loading a little bit up on your brush, just barely touching the paint on the palette, then you're going to go back a little more often. The benefit to that is you're not going to just glob on a bunch of paint. One of the cons of that is you're gonna brush a little bit more. So you can decide whether the trade-off is worth it or not. Once again, the only thing that matters is if you think it looks good. Because you're the one who has to play with the model. So, just a little thing I like to say when it comes to how well a model looks, how good it looks, or someone says it looks bad, someone says it looks awful, someone says it looks good, whatever. The only person's opinion that matters when it comes to your team or army or whatever the case may be is you. Everybody else can just go elsewhere. So all they're going to do is badmouth your stuff. Send them on their way. Send them on their way because you don't need them around in that negativity. Not when you're trying to have fun. So if you're not having fun painting and playing games, then stop now. It's definitely not something that's going to make you money, a lot of money or whatever. And what money you would make, like on YouTube, like we're doing or whatever, not worth your sanity. So just let it go. Yeah, I know, I did it, but that's okay. In this case, it is the correct thing to say, not just a Disney song. Let go and stop worrying about what other people think. Some good advice. Doesn't mean go out and be a jerk to everyone because you can do what you want, but it does mean that you can do. Anyway, whatever. You can ramble on about stupid stuff like that all the time. So, anyway, so we got paint back on there. And of course, oh, missed my water glass. And go back and look at this and see how the drying's going on the beard over here. I'm going to compare this to this one. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. It's going to be kind of a dingy beard. Well, when it dries, it should be better, but he's definitely, let's hold them together up here. Yeah, this beard's definitely a little bit. It's also bigger. So probably should have just touched up a little bit on top. But it is still drying, so we'll see. And maybe they just have different beard styles and colors, so we'll see. If anybody's joining us now, welcome. It is hard to do both painting and looking at the chat, but do my best. The good news is we got that orange on here, so looks like I missed a little spot on the inside there. But anyway, so we're making progress. That's the orange. Just trying to get the orange on there, let it dry long enough that we can go over it with the wash. So I missed a spot on this one's beard with the orange, so I'm going to go ahead and get it now. And when you're painting a model, for the most time, I mean, only when you get to the very end do you not have this option, but one of the options that you normally have is to move on to, well, you have the option of moving on to another model and then coming back once this is dry. Or working on a different part of the model that's not connected to that part. Yeah, that's an option as well. But I'll tell you what I'm talking about on this one. See, this is the problem. You gotta find that right blend of, anyway, so I got that right blend of paint and loading your brush, not too heavy, once again to fill in the strand here, but not light enough or not too little that you just still don't fill anything in, so, or fill any of the color spots in. All right. So that part is done. A little drink now. A little drink. A little drinky drink. All right. You can see we're getting pretty good at it. So anyway, what I mean by that is so after I put a layer onto his beard and say I'm going to have to come back and do another layer, I can switch over like this and do something completely different with it. So some on it, so I can move over like to this barrel that's on his side. This he's holding this little keg kind of thing on the side. And decide what I'm going to do with it and whatever. Or I could just, excuse me, I could just move on to its weapon. Its bladed weapon here, fist weapon that it has over here. You know, there's all kinds of options. So, but as you can, I'm going to show this difference too. So let's take a look at orange beard with washed orange beard. You see that washing gives it, in my opinion, gives it a little character, so to speak, little like I said, definition, obviously is what it is, but you know, I'm really not into the fantasy highlights. Nothing wrong with them. The guys that can do that stuff are absolutely amazing, but not my cup of tea. All right, so we got that. All right. So we did that other coat there. I mean, I don't want to put another coat on this. I think that I have put enough onto this dude's beard for the rest of his natural born life. But we are going to put him back on my handle here. And decide what to do next. We could pull out the white and do this blade weapon, and then the skulls in his beard and then wash them and see how that looks. That's one option. Whew. Yawns today. I wonder where the Tristan, the Caleb, and the Peyton are today. All right. Actually, that is correct, boy. I did not put any wash on any of this strong tone on his hair. I think we needed one more coat on there. I really think we'll be fine regardless, but just a little bit more won't hurt, especially on the sides where it has some texture. Okay. Anyway, and they're Blood Bowl dwarfs. And they play Blood Bowl. They're going to be dirty. So I don't think that matters so much. Anyway, still don't know what to do with this bucket on the side. It's got like this. You got this little flask, keg kind of thing on there. I really don't know what to do with it. I gotta paint socks too. Ugh, the choices. Goodness. I can stop yawning. This should be a lot better. Alright. So what we're gonna do here, we are just going to, I think we're just going to go for it with the matte white. Now, I don't know if I want to do, while I'm shaking this up, so this is Army Painter matte white. Woof, that is bright. The Army Painter matte white. And I don't know if I want to do the Army Painter white on the socks or not, because they're supposed to be socks that are on its cleats. And these are those top layer, what I call it, like starting layer. You start the skin because it's the bottom most, then you move up to, underclothes, and then you move up to your clothes, and then you move up to like armor and stuff, like straps and stuff that are going to be on top of those clothes. And then you move up to the plates of armor or whatever, they're going to be on top of those straps. I usually build it up. You build it up, but these are the ones, these final colors are the ones that make the difference. They're the ones that are going to break up the other colors. So like on his legs, you're going to end up breaking up the blue and, well, basically not the blue, the dark stone that we use for kind of the leather look. We're going to break that in the uniform gray up with this nice thing of white. And who knows, maybe we'll put a little bit of color on it or whatever, but I really like the fact that there's bright white. So yeah, I think the beard turned out pretty good though. So I think when we do the matte white here, that we'll start out with the beard parts. And what I'm talking about is, if you look, we have skulls that are right here on these in his beard towards the ends. So what we do with those, same thing that we're going to do with the weapons. We're going to put some flat white on it, or matte white on it, and then once it dries, we're going to go over it with the dark tone, which is really black. And you'll see in the Troll Slayers how that comes out, like on his weapon here and there, and the things on his arms. It's going to come out as like, well, in the skull there. It just looks to me like stone. So we'll see. I want to make sure I get Everything mixed up. I say you can not shake paint too much. I think the more you shake it, the better. But I mean, really, when you think about the time that elapses, that's too much white. But oh well, we'll use it anyway. Good thing about these paints, Army Painter paints, are like $3 a pop or whatever. So, and they've got a lot in there, especially when you're talking about miniatures. So they're not extremely expensive, and they're a good value. So I'm saying, so you can paint, but you really want to kind of get an idea of how much you're going to need for the task at hand, so to speak. And that wasn't good. So apparently, there was a water bubble on my wet palette. Golly gee whiz. So what you're going to see when you start putting this over this weapon is these lines come out. And once again, just light layers. If you get too much, you have a paper towel nearby. Just kind of wipe those off. But what we're trying to do here is just get to the end of the weapon, which comes over like the bracer portion. And then a little bit more on my brush. Once again, when you start, for lack of a better term, encroaching on another color, you want to work towards that color from a little bit further away, so that you're not, well, so you're not basically just automatically blotching the paint there. You know, you don't want to get rid of some of that, a little excess. You don't want to overdo accidentally hitting it with the color. Once again, you can always touch up, but if you don't have to, don't, because it's a pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. Alright, look at that. That's pretty good, I think. Pretty good. And see, just that little bit of white there. I mean, it's not going to stay white, but just that little bit of color. I mean, this is more of a stark contrast than the others, but still, just that piece of color really makes a difference in the model. Make sure you go around the edges. And we're going to go ahead and, since we have the white going, we're going to go ahead and hit these skulls in his beard as well. Now these are a little smaller. We want to make sure that we're taking our time finding our edges and trying not to get too far over the. You want to get over the edges on these. Once again, if you do, not a huge deal, but it'd be a lot cooler if you don't hit them, because then you don't have to go back to it and touch things up. You got more things to paint, so let's try to save our time for that, so we can actually, yeah, see, I went a little too far with that one. And I touched the other side there, so there we go. Yeah, so I went a little over on that one, so I'm going to touch that up with orange, maybe. We'll see how the wash goes, because the wash might actually get in that area and make it look a lot better. So there's one mask. Everybody's so quiet except for me. Alright, so Brennan, I asked you how was the kitty and you didn't answer me. That's kind of sad. Just wanted to know how the poor kitty was doing. Just wanted to know how the kitty was doing. But I should know that the kitty takes care of what the kitty needs. No problem. There we go. We're getting somewhere. Now we're cooking with gas. And I'm sorry if I sometimes get out of the picture there. These really small details take a lot out of me in my advanced years. My eyes, they deceive me a lot. Like I said, we're just trying to get these masks taken care of, and beware on your brushes of rogue hairs. And that's what they are, they're hairs. Synthetic or not, or natural or not, they're just hairs of some sort. So all right. Now we're getting somewhere. In this instance, when we're doing the skulls and the beard skulls, whatever, they don't have to be perfect all the way around either. They just, need to be what they is. All right. Everybody. Boom, boom, boom. Just talking to myself. Nobody want to talk to me. So I'm just putting a little bit more on this fist weapon. A little more matte white. Just the slightest bit. But we want a good base before we put the wash over it, or it just kind of turns to mush as far as the color goes. We don't want it too thick, so we don't want filling in details. If it's too thin, could be problems. So that's what we're trying to avoid right now. Problems. All right. Now for the fun part. Need to find a brush that I trust to do the socks on this bad boy. I think this one's pretty well behaved at the moment, so we'll see. Just need to line up. There we go. And we did overstep a little bit on that one, but luckily it was onto that barrel that we haven't painted yet. Like I said, not trying to be perfect, but we want to make it look good for us. Once again, this is one of those things that'd be great to paint before you put the model together, but we'll see. Now these socks do dip. These cleats are kind of have a little bit of an indent there. And I haven't decided if so, what I'm going to wash these socks with. It's kind of funny to wash the socks, but that's basically what it is. So what kind of wash I'm going to use. But I do know that in order to keep it from being so I don't know what the term would be. Just plain, I guess. I'm going to wash it with something. So it looks kind of dirty because I've been playing Blood Bowl and whatnot. This isn't the team picture where we make sure everything's washed clean and then do the thing. But it does look pretty good. We got socks on him. And that was the goal. Alright. This one's got a little bit more definition to it. And once again, I mentioned it last time, I'm wondering if for whatever reason, the one thing that keeps me from thinking that this is the case is because Camden is pretty good with this kind of stuff. I don't know, he'd tell you that he can't paint. He does and just really doesn't like to do it, so I understand that. But he's usually pretty good about putting things together and getting them primed up. So I would like to one day see no light to it. One day I'm going to end up getting another box of these just so I can have a few more long beards and whatnot. But anyway, my reasoning for wanting them is not as important as to say, at least that way I can see what they look like before they're painted or primed, and see what if there's any color, any difference there. And you want your primer to be you want it to cover everything it should cover, obviously, but just cover it, like just cover it, not try to get some light in here so I can finish this sock. Yeah, so it's supposed to just cover it, not. It doesn't have to be some. Doesn't have to be real thick. Depending on who you ask, most people would agree it shouldn't be thick, because we're dealing with small minis. And then someone jumps in and says, "Oh, those aren't the smallest I've done," but still, we're still dealing with small items. Okay, and it's important when dealing with those small items that I don't know where I was going with that. So again, my train of thought derailed. There were no survivors. Man, I know there's a spot in there that needs to be white, but is getting to it worth the effort? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I think I'm going to call it good with that. We have a decent line on the socks. I am shocked they came out the way they did. So first time doing the socks on these, because the Troll Slayers didn't have socks. There we go. Don't be afraid to go back. Put a little bit more on there after the first layer is dried. If you're seeing, like these were primed in black, if you decide to prime in black, if you see it showing through, don't be afraid to go back to it. Then my dog is apparently needing me for something, possibly to go outside. But that's okay. I've been on for, what is it, like an hour and a half. I think I deserve a pee break here for a minute, but we'll see. Just real quick and let the dog out and grab my other drink that I forgot, I guess. Everybody's been awful quiet today. A little disconcerting, but if that's the way that you do, then that's the way that you do. That's kind of cool. I like that contrast. That breakup of uniform that those things do. But as you can see here, we're really getting somewhere with these. Okay? So this guy, other than his barrel on his side, which I don't know what to do with that just yet, is almost complete. So what I'm going to do is to do that. put that there. I think we're just going to move it down to the middle, like that. And set the color on it to a dark color. Well, that didn't work. Let's go to properties. We got a good font there, that's fine. But I'm not going to sit here forever and worry about this. Alright, so we got a little thing that says we'll be right back. There's my color. I just want it to be dark. Okay? So boom. Okay. Okay. The restroom, be right back. We can see that. So give me just a few moments. This is live, so give me a few moments and I'll be right back. And we'll continue with washing these white pieces. And I'm wondering if I might, I don't know. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay. As you can probably tell from the earthquake that was happening there as I came back up. I have an older house and then the wood is good, but it's got a little bounce to it. It's pier and beam. So anyway, we went through and we put on the white it was distracting me. Alright, so we put on the white on the weapon and on his socks, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Anybody want to comment on it if they can see it? I'll put it up here. You see how socks go through. Now what we notice now, I mean, the socks are a little bit different because they're supposed to be kind of white, so they show up, but we might dirty them up a little bit because, you know, they've been playing. What you'll notice though is that, like, unlike the other colors that we have, they're just kind of plain, right? We still need to put some sort of wash on that uniform gray, I think, but I don't know what I want to use on that, so we'll figure it out in a minute. But we don't have to, but it'll bring out some of those lines in the pants and whatnot. So I did notice that on this one and this one that the pants are a little different. It's because I use spaceship exterior, which is kind of comes out of a light gray on those pants, and then washed it with a little bit of tone. But I think we'll be all right there. All right, looks like we've got quite a bit done there. So I'm going to go ahead, since I already have the white out here, and hit this guy in all the places he needs it. So the socks and the same things. It's kind of like an assembly line we kind of do. There it is. I'm going to switch to this one. We kind of do, when you're painting more than one miniature, and these are the blitzers. There's only 2 of them in the box. We kind of do all the same colors. Now, the paint does last a lot better on the wet palette, so we'll be able to use it longer. But we definitely want to kind of stay with the colors. So we're going to go ahead and paint this weapon, and right now I got a little water. I left those brushes in there. Let me grab them out of there real quick. I don't recommend that you leave the brushes to sit in there in your water too long, because they can get underneath the couplings, these little metal pieces, and cause some ick. So, or even seep into the wood and cause it to split later. Once again, I don't use fancy, expensive brushes. I'm not going to throw out, like, I use this, this, and this. These are folk art, Walmart brushes. I think I pay like... Now, there's nothing wrong with a nice brush if you're willing to keep up with it. If you want to spend money on a nice brush, just know that there's going to be upkeep on that brush. You are going to have to clean it well, and then occasionally give it a good cleaning. And, you know, there's just, it's like with anything that's of quality, you can't just leave it be and then it continues to work the way that you expect it to work. You have to take into consideration that you're paying a premium cost. Sometimes that's for longevity and being able to use it for a long time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's free, that you're just going to be able to throw it around and pick it up and it's going to work just right. Just like you spend thousands of dollars on a Rolex watch because you want a nice watch, and you just toss it into your drawer at nighttime and it gets gacked up and you're wondering, wow, this is supposed to be high quality. Why does it look, why does it look like this now? Well, it's because you gacked it up. You didn't take care of it. Now it looks like crap compared to the way it looked when you first got it. So you gotta put it in a nice place and maybe put it in a nice case, and then occasionally you might want to like polish it or something, And the same thing with brushes. You get a nice brush that costs you a pretty penny. Well, you want to put it up somewhere. You want to wash it out when you're done. Let it dry in the right way, and then let it dry right. You're gonna dry like a hanging dryer thing you can get for them or whatever, and then you're gonna end up having to clean them really well and condition them. Conditioning a brush keeps it pliable, keeps it soft, and the bristles still working the way that you want them to. Or you can take the route that I take and spend $4 and some change on a bunch of brushes, and when they're no longer working for you, they get out of whack, just retire them to the trash bin. Alright, that side's done. I'm going to flip it over. And we're going to start this part. Remember, frequently loading the brush is going to be a lot better than trying to, eke out every little bit of the paint you got on there. So when it starts to get light on the paint, add some more. Don't try to make it stretch or you'll end up with a bad paint job. Who wants that? Unless that's what you're going for. For some reason you just want a terrible paint job on everything. So let's see, we have a couple people in there, so if it's anybody new or anybody who's been here the whole time, just say hi. Ask questions, whatever. This isn't just for me to paint and for you to watch. It's kind of like, hey, wouldn't normally paint right now, but I need to start painting on a regular basis so I can get some of these things done. And one of the ways I like to do that is talk to people while I do it. So, kind of used to being in the hectic environment of having my own game shop, and is trying to get things done while doing other things, which can be frustrating, but also, sometimes some people like that. I like it on at certain times. There's sometimes I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. So we're starting to be able to see the face on this one. Now this guy's going to get a little more white than the other ones. The other one, because he has some accents on his, because he has a full helm, kind of like almost like full helm. So he has some accents that, like with the Troll Slayer, because there's two Troll Slayer poses, I guess you'd call them, and one of them has a helmet as well, and I'll show you that once I get this all lined out. There we go. And we're going to let And truthfully, this should, there's like a little edge that goes over this that really should have paint on it too. These are those details I've talked about before. I loaded a little bit too much paint on that. Alright. This edge and that edge need a little bit. Alright, so we've got like a first coat on there. So we're going to let that dry while we move on to something else. Okay, so I think I'm at the point where we need to go to his helm. And you'll see what I'm talking about as I start laying the paint on it. Okay, so just watch here. So that guy, well, here, let me show you this real quick. This guy does, is it the Troll Slayer doesn't have any helmet. This one does. So we have these, the bridge on his nose and like these little kind of fake eyebrow things. You know, I need to look at that one again. I think that might have missed some white on that one, but oh well. So we need, yeah, something's telling me that these side parts that I did not do on that one also should be white. Something's telling me. So there's like these little pieces that come off of here and down the side of his face. Remember, you don't want to go too crazy on it and get a lot. You really don't want any run over on these, but you can see that little mark on the side of his face now. You really don't want any run over on these. You want to kind of be careful not to. Now this I can't tell if that's his hair poking through or not, so I'm definitely going to need to look at that on a picture here in a minute. But we're going to start with these details here. Once again, start in a place that's further in, that's not a border between the two colors, and then work your way to the edge where the two colors meet. That way you're not just accidentally rolling over that color. And something tells me that I wasn't supposed to paint there. All of that. It looked like it from there, but once I put the paint on it, I was like, you know what? I think I did too much. So we'll see. Let me pull up a little picture of him. And eventually I'll get this pulling up pictures part onto the screen too so you can see it, but right now I'm just using my phone. And we're going to just look for Blood Bowl Dwarves. It's in my search history because I did it like 3 or 4 times last time. And what I do is I go to the store, the GW store, and they have some really good pictures of the individual models, the way they painted them. And even though they're not exactly the way you want to paint them, they definitely... Okay, no, I wasn't wrong. That was the white that we wanted. That's as white as we wanted the white on there. Okay, cool. I thought I went too wide on this one, but apparently I didn't. So, and once again, light layers. Anyway, apparently this white goes down the side, like to the edge of his mask, so that's fine too. So we're just going to take that down. And once again, my 43-year-old eyes get less and less able to see this stuff without getting close to the light. So if things get out of focus or whatever, I apologize. Damn it. Yeah, looks like it goes all the way up to the edge there. I mean, although there is like a split of the blue on it, so you don't want to overstep that line. And normally, the way that they paint them on the studio paints is that all of this stuff that I'm painting white, and then eventually I'm going to make into a stone kind of color, is gold on those, but I like the down to earth kind of look. And that should go all the way down to the edge here. Once again, the white stands out a little bit more. Oh, that's what I was supposed to look at on him, was whether or not okay, so apparently we weren't supposed to go all the way down with the white on the sides, but we're gonna do it anyway. Why? Because we can. Because we can. Alright. We were just supposed to get this little dot of it on there, but this little circle part. And I'm going to show that just for reference. So there's like this little, like almost like a ball right there that's supposed to get white, or in their picture gold on it, but we're going to take it all the way down the side. Yep. And why, you might ask? Because we can. Because we think it looks good. And for anyone who's been listening, what is the only important thing when it comes to how your models are painted? That is whether you like the way they look or not. It's the only important thing. And I like the way that looks. And I like the way it looks even better once I get the wash over it. But before we do that, we need probably gonna need to put another small layer of paint on it. We're not done with that either. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, that's not his hair that's sticking to the top. That's that was the question I initially wanted to answer and didn't. So we want to get a good look at where that line is on top of his head. Like so. Flip it over and do the same thing. I don't know how I got off that line. It looked like I had it pretty straight. I don't know, maybe it's the rogue hair there on my brush. But anyway, always touch it up afterwards. Details have never been my strong suit, but we're going to do our best to get them all done. Once again, if anybody can't see anything, if it's too blurry, if I need to adjust anything, please speak up. Let me know. But I think it's pretty good right now. All right. Now see, that's what I'm talking about. We just need to get the rest of it lined up. Stop talking for a second and actually get it done. Great. So now we're going to have to go back with some blue on that. Cause I made a blue boo. Get it? Blue boo. Ha ha. Yeah. We got it like almost right there, but we missed a little spot. There we go. So we're gonna go ahead to go back with the blue. I'd much rather see where this little point is on his helmet by going over just a little bit. Yeah, and then when we come back with the blue, we can sharpen it up. I think we've got a pretty good coat on this. Yep. And I'm not going to wash that part until I'm sure that I got everything touched up with the blue. And there is a bit of blue that needs to be touched up on this. So, but we'll continue with the white and get his socks done. Oops, I was almost completely off screen there. What I was painting seemed to be completely off screen, so I apologize for that. But once again, we're just getting all the white parts and currently the socks. Because unlike the Troll Slayers who don't wear shoes or socks, pretty much the rest of the team does. So we're just trying to. I'm just trying to do that. No, lost some definition somewhere on these, but I think I'm kind of finding where the points are that need to be, that go from the gray to the white. So hopefully we can just paint it pretty quick and without incident. This is another one of those places I would have considered painting before mounting on to a base. But that's only if I'm going for a super fancy paint job. Which in this case I'm not. So I mean it's kinda is, but not really. I'm going for a nice paint job, but nothing super fancy. So we'll see. Seeing right there, I just went over too far onto that shoe. Well, once again, I don't think I'm too far away for you to see it exactly, but can make it work. Yeah, see where I went over. That's okay. We can go over that with a little bit of dark stone later. I think for the most part we got that, and we just need to add a little more paint to the surfaces that we can see really well, and just make sure they're white and there's not a lot of black showing through the primer. Also, if there's anybody, whoever's watching, if you have any suggestions as to a way, ways to make it a little more interesting, things to talk about while painting, stuff like that, suggestions are always welcome, both here and on the rest of the YouTube videos that we do. communication with our subscribers, viewers, whatever, or however you want to say it, is very important to us. We want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the fact that, like some people might, that without subscribers you don't have a channel. I mean, you can do it just for the hell of it, but there's nothing wrong with that. But your viewers make your channel. There's no need for you to have a channel if you aren't. Is that the color? Yeah. There's no need to. I'm beginning to wonder. No, that's the right color. There's no need to have a channel if no one's watching. Like, no one wants to watch you because they're trying to tell you what you should do, what they want to see, not what you should do, but what they want to see, and you're just completely ignoring them. Does that mean that your viewers should completely 100% control everything that you do? Of course not. I mean, you want to use your own creative, and you want to be creative in your own right. The reason why things are shaking is I'm shaking up this deep blue so that we can go back and touch up a few things while the white dries and before we wash the parts that are white to make them the color we want. So I don't know. Let's see. So right now it looks kind of funny because it's just matte white, but you'll see what we're after once I get this blue painted in the middle and then wash the white parts to make them the stone kind of color, which kind of like what I did on this one. Let's see, yeah, so it's kind of like that. All right. What we're going to do with this deep blue, once we get it shaken and some of it put on the palette, so we're going to go in between these white pieces right here. I'll use the back. I guess I could have put that in the water. Somehow I left that out. In between, this is dry, in between here, just like right in between the white pieces with the blue. Also on top of the head, there's a little line there and a little line over here that we need to trim up. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I did get a little spot right there onto his beard, and we'll see how that works out. We'll see how that works out here in a minute. I don't know if that's his beard or if I can put a little dab of blue on there and make it look like, or maybe it's like the helmet, so we'll figure it out. Alright, we're getting... There we go. Alright. So, for some reason, there's some of these paints in a bottle that while you're shaking them, they kind of like do this overflow lava thing over the top. So I'll try to clean it up and keep it cleaned up, because if you just leave it and don't clean it up, it just becomes a bigger mess. All right, so we got our blue. I got a little bit smaller brush. Once again, I don't know what it is with rogue hairs today, and that may be one of those things that you end up having to deal with a cheaper brush. And those rogue hairs might start appearing a little bit more, a little bit sooner on a cheaper brush. The problem with the rogue hairs is, if you're not careful, you're going to end up little random dot of paint somewhere that you didn't want it. Whatever. Yeah, it's a little random dot somewhere because that little wild hair caused a major problem. Oops. Oh, that's weird. Why is this so flat? This brush seems to almost be flattened instead of like a little cone. It's like this little flat side. Anyway, one of those things. Oh, I really don't like that brush. I really don't like it at all. See how this one works. I can tell you right now, this is not going to be perfect, but I'm going to do my best to line this out because it's important to me that it be right, you know, as right as I can make it. Not because someone's going to look at it and say, oh my gosh, you missed a little piece. What's up with that? I'll kill you. No, yeah, you just want to make sure that you're taking your time, working to where you need to be. There we go. Most of all, enjoy it. Like, I know some people who really hate painting, and if that's the case, just turn it over to somebody else to do. I'm debating on whether or not to leave these parts that I know are supposed to be blue white or to paint them back blue. I think we're going to paint them back blue. We've already got the blue out. I'm already right here. Might as well. It does make for a lighter color going back over that white though. Oh well. We're just gonna do what we need to do here and do the best we can. Oh my gosh. That paint is not enough loaded up on there or something because it's not covering the way I like it to. I hope that there's some of you out there that are actually watching the painting part and getting something out of it. Damn it, I did it again. I went over onto that part right there. Yeah, good enough. And are getting something, information or just enjoyment of watching it or whatever, you know, whatever the case may be. I know that some of my friends are out there watching, so thanks for that, guys. Alright, I think we've pretty much touched that up. I think once we get the wash over the white parts, that everything else will look better. But I think we got it. This is the one where I went over onto the boot with the white part, but that's something I gotta fix with some some dark stone here in a minute. Alright. So went over that blue. Don't want to paint the blue crystals just yet on this one. Alright. So let's give these brushes a wish around in the water. And then get them out of the water. Speaking of brushes and needing to be conditioned and whatnot, these are a little off. But like I said, I'm not sure if they're worth conditioning or we just get another set. So, but we'll see. Alright, so I'm going to use this one. Alright, I'm going to use a little bit smaller brush here. And the reason being, I'm going to put this strong tone that we were working with earlier. No, I don't want strong tone. See, glad I caught myself. With this, we want the dark tone. And we want to make it a little more watery than normal. So we don't want almost messed up there. So let me get this dark tone. This is Army Painter Quick Shade dark tone. It is almost a black. Maybe Nuln Oil or just whatever. It's the black wash. I don't know if Nuln Oil GW is black. The black one, but there's a dark black one. This is it. So once again, you want to make sure you wash or shake it real good because you want all the pigment to get into the thing. And now you're going to see, once we get this done, the difference a little bit of wash makes. Because as you can see it right now while I'm shaking this, I'll show you that it's so stark white. So stark white. And we don't want it to be white like that. We want it to be like a stone, like a grayish stone color. So we're going to find an empty spot on our wet palette here. And put a little of that on there. And then, since we're going over white, we don't want it to be like completely well, maybe a little bit too much water. We want to just put a little bit of water in it. So I just dipped a larger brush into the water and then dipped it in and dropped it onto the dark shade, or the dark tone. And then we'll pick some of it up. Now, just like with the other washes, I want to make sure that we're going to start on the back. This is where the biggest difference you're going to see is going to be. So as we start applying it, you see automatically the difference in color, and we're achieving the color that we really want. And that color in the detail, that color is a gray. that. That's the first one. It hasn't dried yet. And you want to reassess these things as they dry. You'll also notice when you use this, if you went a little bit light, or I don't say light, a little bit heavy on the, like I put white on here, but the details. So like if you went a little bit heavy on the details, like on the white inside the details, this kind of washes it out a little bit. It kind of lives up to its name in that, right? And I'm just trying to make sure I don't leave too much of it on the blade part, because that is what shows the most. So we're wanting to make sure that we don't want an ocean of it. We want a little bit of pool in the areas like where they connect to the other colors and the details, the recesses. Okay. All right. So you can already see. I'll show you both. So we're going to put both weapons kind of side by side right here, and you can see the difference, and that looks much better, in my opinion. Once again, my channel, my model, my choice. Alright. Alright. So now we're going to move to his face. I want to start on the top. Once again, we're looking for like a grayish finish on these, and we don't want to get too much of the tone on any of the other pieces, the other colors. So we want to take the tone, we want to make sure it gets on all the pieces that we painted white. You can see right now there's a part of this that maybe should still be blue. Yep, I see it right there. I'm running out of this stuff because apparently I didn't squeeze enough onto the palette. Let's try not to waste it, but at this point I really don't care. Alright. So we're going to pick up some more here. Add a little bit of water to it. Once again. And then we're going to make sure we get some wash on these parts. Once again, paying attention to details, making sure we're not just layering on everything in a way. We want to concentrate on the parts that needs to be on these white parts here, and we're wanting to almost stain them a gray color. If you get the wash into a place you don't want it, a lot of times you can clean off the color that you have on your brush at the time, and you can give it a little dry. And you can just kind of barely go in there and suck up some of the moisture. You don't want to press hard on it because you don't want to use, it's kind of a dry brush, kind of not, because it is a little dry, but it's also got some water on it. So for some reason there wasn't enough pigment in that shot of it, because that is completely bone white. And it still is. It's not. There we go. That should dry up with a little bit of gray on it. Okay. I mean, I like the way that's turning out. Won't know for sure until it dries. I like the way that's turning out. Anyway, while I have this model on here, I'm going to go ahead and rinse this out and pop a little bit of the strong tone, which we use for the beard, and go ahead and put on our first layer of strong. No, I'm going to have to put some more on my palette. Anyway, so strong tone, quick shade is what we're using on the red beards. So shake it up real good and put a little bit more where we had it before. I didn't shake it as much because I shook it a little earlier, or earlier when we used it. So it's again one of those things that gets nasty on the tip of the bottle. Don't know why that is, but it is what it is. Once again, we're just trying to get it on the beard, not on a bunch of the rest of the model. Oh, that was a lot. So we're going to try to pick a little bit of that up and transfer it over. That was a big glob right there. I'm going to go under here because we got some there. And that's better. We've basically been able to move that and transfer it over. That's good. Now, if you have the time, I suggest on some of these things, if you're not in a rush, which I'm not really, but when you are doing these things, you can make sure to give your coats plenty of time to dry. They'll adhere better. You're not going to end up putting a wash on something and maybe, I mean, I haven't seen it happen much at all, but if you don't give it a little bit of time to dry, you can, the wash can take off like the other layer of paint that you were doing. Once again, doesn't happen often. Quite rare actually, but if you're trying to put the wash on too early and too hard, then that can happen. So again, remember what you're trying to do with this stuff. You're not just slathering on for your health. You want to give some definition to the strands of the beard. Strands of hair. So when you're putting it on, if you don't see it kind of laying in those strands, then what's the point? You know, you need to figure out why it's not laying in there. And I'm bordering on putting too much at this point, but on that first layer, but I want to make sure that's right. Okay, so we've put that on there. It looks like, yeah, it looks pretty good. I do have some more blue stuff to do real quick, but I mean, I think once that dries, it's going to look very nice. If I can get you a little bit higher up. Whoever's watching there, if you want to tell me what you think of the look of it, I'd appreciate that. No constructive criticism. I won't cry hard. Too bad. And if I do, I'm just ahead on the internet, so what does it matter? So give me your honest opinion on what it looks like. I think the mask is actually growing on me the way it looks. I think that is really cool. And yeah. People, we are almost done, other than basing, with 4 of the 12 models. We are a third of the way there. Give yourselves a round of applause. Really don't know what I want to do with that barrel. Something tells me just to leave it, or make sure it's black or dark stone or something, and then do the edges like a gold or something. Not gold, like that gray. But anyway, I went over on that one, but other than that, I like my lines there. That face mask is really growing on me. Alright, I cleaned off my brush so I could get some of the blue on it that we've already had, because I missed a spot of touch-up on the blue. On his bracer, there is a spot that needs to be retouched, or needs to be touched up right here, from when we painted the beard. Okay, anyway, from where we painted the beard, we got some, see, I got rogue bristles here, which that brush is about half. Ooh. Thought I washed that brush out. Before you put the brush in your mouth, make sure it's washed out. The acrylic paint, unless you drink bottles and bottles of it, isn't going to really hurt you. But it doesn't taste good. It's nasty. It is water-based, so shouldn't do too much damage to you. But I'm not a doctor, so disclaimer. I'm sure it wouldn't be suggested that you get too much of it in your mouth. So. I think we might have covered it all. Might be a little bit right in there, but I think, by golly, I think we got it. I'm going to go ahead and touch up a little here, because this is the one I got a little orange on and was able to wipe it off, but I can still see a little orange staining on it, I think. And that's just kind of not really OCD, so ask my wife. I leave stuff around all the time, but certain things bother me, and that's one of them. So we touched that up. I really don't know what to do with them stupid things on the side. Oh, I'll look at it later. That is something that I can touch up later. I mean, it looks fine with the black right now, but I don't know. Anyway, let's see what we got on the other one that we need to. That we missed with the blue little touch-ups stuff. Oh, that's right. We still need to do his weapon and the skulls in his beard. All right. So we're gonna go back to our dark tone. We'll start on the back like we did the last one. We'll just start applying. Ooh, that's kind of watery. Need to mix that up a little bit more. There we go. That's better. A little bit more. There we go. Sitting here going, that is not turning out the same. And the reason being is because it's more watery. Let's see if we look at them. So I said they're not. Yeah, they're close, but they're not quite the way that I want them to be. So we may have to give that a second one, but second coat. But it looks like it's turning out pretty good. Let me look at this. No, I think we're good on that. Yeah, it's a little lighter maybe, but that's okay. I think it might be a little too dark. Anyway, what I'm doing now is kind of going back over this, making sure it gets spread out. So I don't want it to be. Let's see if we get the two colors together. Yeah. Once that dries, it's going to darken up a little bit, but I don't want it to be like black. Like real dark. Almost black. It really should be like a gray. So. And I also don't want it to be too light either, so. And what we've got is that's actually better. And I can fiddle fart with it enough that I won't like it at all. So I'm just going to go back over it a little bit. So again, I don't want the blades to be too. I don't want them to be much lighter or anything, but I don't want them to be all cloudy. There we go. Alright, just going to leave that alone before I mess it up. And then we're going to do the same thing on these puppies. put a little bit more dark tone in there. Used it all up. And we're going to need it for other stuff later too, I'm sure. But right now, we just want enough to get done with these skulls. Right. Now we're cooking with gas. Looking more and more like a completed figure every time I look at it. Alright. So, once again, we got a couple spots of dark stone that need to be retouched, especially on the shoes. But man, that mask looks good. Those weapons are looking good. And plus we need the dark stone. We're going to use it around the gems that are in his beard. Actually, I think the ones that were in his beard, we ended up using the white on the other ones. So we could go back and do that. Just a little touch up on the white around those. Then we can finish the blue. I mean, we're really close to being completely done with these two. And I know some people are saying it's ridiculous that you took 4 hours one day and it's almost 3 hours today working on these same 2 dudes. But people spend many, many hours more. True, they come up with some amazing results, but I think these look really good. Can I get an amen? I mean, look at that dude. I think he looks awesome. He's ready for the Blood Bowl pitch. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and, oops, always put your lid back on your bottles, people, just in case we don't need any accidents. Alright, what I want to do now, I'm going to take this particular brush. I'm going to get some white paint on it. I'm going to see if I can't get, nope, you're supposed to come off of there, and he is supposed to go on there. Because we need some lovings around these little diamond, little gems. And once again, kind of like we did with the dark stone on the bracers, the shoulders of these guys, we're going to go around the edge. And we don't care if we get it on the gem. Actually, in this case, getting the white where the gem goes isn't a bad thing. It's going to cause it to be a little bit brighter of a paint, a little brighter of a blue. Let me put it on there. So, but once again, as long as we like the way it looks. think this brush is about to be retired. Yep. I think it's a bit to be retired. Ain't no about to it. It's no longer being used. It's gonna sit in there. It's driving me nuts. I have some tedious work to do here, and I can't have my equipment keeping me from doing my work. The equipment can't do the job. It goes away. That's how we do it around here. And I don't care if that brush has mouths to feed, other brushes to feed, bristles to feed. Doesn't matter. You can't do the work anymore. It gets tossed. I'm sorry. Thank you for your time of service. But you can no longer do the job properly. You must be handled, sir. Shown the door. See if I can get this brush in there just to give it a little bit of color. That is what I was looking for. Alright, I think a little bit of finesse I can get that in there too. Just white on that side. There we go. Alright, I think we have covered it. Sweet. Alright, so we got that on there. And then we'll do the same thing we did with the weapons on them. Darken them up a little bit. And then paint the gems on it. And give it another color for another another coat of the strong tone in the beard. We're almost there, people. This is what gets me every time. I always find some little thing that needs to be done, but I really think that we're basically done here. I'm going to get some dark stone to go over a couple places I hit. I'm about to make those look like stone and then paint the gems with the same blue, with the blue, and then I think they're ready to go. Actually, yeah, forgot about that. There's this little space in between. Oh my gosh. Come on, stop it. There's a little space in between there that has these laces or whatever they're called. So we want to make sure why it matters. I have no idea why it matters to me, but they are there. Yep. And if I do it right here, when I go over the, I can go over the edges with the blue and be done with it. Okay. Killing me. That one I actually got away with. Wow. This one I was messy with. Alright. I'm doing this right now because I'm waiting on this other stuff to dry so that I can wash it. But I just need a little bit of blue. And we'll go over this little spot right here. And go over, this spot right here. What the hell, David? You gotta pay attention. That was a sloppy run on those. But you know what? Once I put the black on them, or the wash on it, I barely notice. You'll barely notice. And if you're looking that close, look a little closer. Yep. I can live with that. Alright. So we're going to go over these dudes with the same dark tone now that they've dried up some. And like I said, we're just going to go over the whole thing. We're not going to be not terribly picky with it. You want to be perfect with it, that's your prerogative. But I like where we got it now. Alright. So I've got that. Let me look at this. Holy crap. When did that happen? I didn't even notice. I thought I did a good job on that line, but that line is messed up. Alright, that's fine. We're just touch-ups. Alright. So, it's Stone Dudes. Alright. We're going to get this dark tone off of here. And we're going to put a strong tone on there, go over the beard again. Speed painting is not my forte, so that's why I try to do it talking. Because then it's a discussion, it's not just you watching me paint really slowly. So, hope those who have been watching are actually watching and enjoying themselves. If not, thank you for watching. I really want to have some fun with this and get some things painted, show off a number of different minis from different games. Just have a good time with it. And hopefully you get a little extra time and you guys will respond to the question in the video of where I asked about which cars, and I may actually either take that part of the video or make a separate Facebook post about it just so we can get some comments. On it and see what people think. And then go from there on that Gaslands thing. I'm currently, well, not right this minute because I'm doing this video and I didn't want the sound of it in the background the whole time. But I do have some Gaslands terrain stuff I found. So that's I'm 3D printing now, so we can have a good thing. I'm trying to get my buddy Morgan to come on camera and do some Gasland stuff, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, so as you can see, I put the second wash on there. It's darkened up his beard. I think I need to put a little bit more back there. Alright, so it's looking pretty damn good. Now that, I just stuck wash on there on this pad, but that's okay. It came off, but it's still fine. All right, so we have that. I need to put a little flesh wash on that arm, but man, if you see right there, I did not notice that I went so far over those pants. So I would definitely need to pull out the uniform gray and go back over those. But I mean, look at those looking good. The mask looks good. The weapons are looking good. So once I do that, that should be fine. I might actually give the stone treatment to the top and the bottom of that barrel on his side, and then like dark stone in the middle or whatever. So we'll see. Something somewhat simple. if you look, these guys both have strands. And actually that's drying, so it'll be a different color once it dries, but I think we're looking good there. All right. We are right at the 3-hour mark. So, I mean, I really want to go over a couple of things on here. I mean, I really would like to be done with these. I mean, this one, pretty much done. I didn't really go over on his cleats. His weapon's done now. The only thing left, I think, on this one is that barrel. So he is pretty much at his finished place. Yeah, I mean, I think he needs a little flesh wash on the back here. On his arm, I don't think I got any on it. But anyway, or wherever. But I mean, really, truthfully, he is, except for his basing, of course, he is like done. The basing in this bucket, this thing that's on his side. So I think we can finish with him. All right. This guy, the white that I did for his socks just got everywhere. And I'm debating on whether or not to fix that right now, or since I've been at this for 3 hours, letting my eyes rest and come back for it. Let some of these washes completely dry and then go from there. But let me know what you think of these guys so far. They're pretty much done except for some touch-ups. We've got the gems to put there, a little bit of flesh washing right here where we have the tan flesh. These guys are a little bit dark for dwarves, but yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. Thank y'all for watching, those who did. Thanks for chatting. A little bit from Chris and Brennan. And I said we'll come back, or maybe I'll do those little touch-ups. Basically, we just need to touch up a couple of things on this guy, in his pants and stuff, and then do these barrels on their sides. So I may do those off camera and just post a picture later. But I'm gonna post updated pictures of these dudes. Because the last time they're crazy compared to what they looked like last time. So anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out our other videos on our YouTube channel. We cover a number of things. We're going to have a focus on Heavy Gear Blitz, which is a game that a lot of people know about. An interesting game that a whole lot of people know about by DreamPod 9 out of Canada. Got another video for that coming up. I'm hoping I can get it finish the editing before Monday, because I'd like to have it out. Nick's got a bunch of things in the pipe as far as coming down the pike, with such as there's a few things, just talking about minis and miniatures games, and just the whole wealth of knowledge that he is putting it all out there for y'all. Once again, we hope to have some Blood Bowl content for y'all soon. It really depends on getting these models done, so probably won't see it for a little bit. Speaking of Heavy Gear Blitz, we're planning for a new game, which Still haven't seen the last one yet. But a new game with me and Nick here in a week or so. Once things start calming down. And so hopefully that pans out and everything goes well on it and we can get to it. Because we really are missing being able to play the game. So we have plenty more Heavy Gear Blitz content. Nick's still making the starter box videos where he goes over the model reviews. So, I mean, just stay tuned. Once again, What Game Now? At What Game Now on Instagram, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter is at Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. Twitter is at What Game Now Live because the others were taken. So the other was taken. So for me, the Dwarfs, and the rest of everybody at What Game Now, thank you for watching, and y'all have a great night.